TikTok engaged in a banned data collecting process that harvested highly personalized information from its users for more than a year, an investigation by the Wall Street Journal has found. Here's what you need to know. In violation of Google's rules, the popular short video app owned by China's ByteDance collected MAC addresses, which can be used to gather highly personal identifying data on an individual. A MAC address, short for Media Access Control Address, is a globally unique identifier assigned to a device that can connect to the internet, unlike an IP address, which multiple devices may use to connect to the internet. If a MAC address is like a person's name, which is unique to them and doesn't change, an IP address is like an email address. Many devices have their MAC address hard-coded into factory firmware. This means MAC addresses are particularly useful for collecting identifying data on an individual and creating a highly personal user profile because they cannot be changed. In 2015, Google locked down MAC address access to third-party developers on Android phones. Google also bans app developers from collecting identifying data without a user's consent. TikTok circumvented these restrictions and concealed its tracking behind an unusual added layer of encryption, according to the Wall Street Journal's report. A 2018 study by AppCensus found that about 1% of Android apps were gathering MAC addresses, usually for advertising purposes. What is unusual in TikTok's case is the extra steps it took to conceal its workaround, indicating that the company was purposefully collecting sensitive user data in secret. TikTok collected users' MAC addresses for 18 months in violation of Google's rules until November of 2019. The report comes days after U.S. President Donald Trump issued an executive order that would effectively ban TikTok in the U.S. next month. The order bars transactions with the app's Beijing-based parent company, ByteDance. A similar order targets WeChat and its Chinese parent company, Tencent. TikTok did not respond to detailed questions from the Wall Street Journal. In a statement, a spokesperson said, TikTok was committed to protecting the privacy and safety of the TikTok community. Like our peers, we constantly update our app to keep up with evolving security challenges. The company said the current version of TikTok does not collect MAC addresses. This should come as no surprise, as experts have been sounding the alarm on TikTok for a while now. Popular app TikTok has been found to have a ton of security flaws. Cybersecurity firm Check Point has conducted an investigation into the video-sharing app TikTok and found major vulnerabilities within the app. In a report, researchers from the company explained that hackers could access a person's account by using a function on TikTok's website that allows users to enter their phone number, which will text them a link to download the app. Hackers could use this flaw to change the download URL and send a fraudulent SMS link containing a malicious link created by the attacker. This allowed attackers to access a user's account and to send requests on their behalf. Attackers could use this to manipulate a user's content feed by deleting videos from their feed and uploading unauthorized videos onto their feed instead. Hackers would also have the authority to change a user's video privacy settings from hidden or private to public. Researchers found that attackers could also execute JavaScript code in order to retrieve sensitive information about the user. This includes emails, payment information, or birth dates. According to the BBC, Check Point said they informed TikTok's parent company ByteDance about the vulnerabilities in November. TikTok says the security flaws have since been fixed in their latest app version. Of course, Chinese entities are not the only threats to internet security, but it seems like a disproportionate number of significant cybersecurity incidents can be traced back to the communist country.
China is accused of masterminding the Equifax hack and what is surely the latest Western imperialist plot to hurt the feelings of 1.4 billion Chinese people. According to the Washington Post, the hack compromised personal data of nearly half of all Americans. A federal grand jury charged 4 Chinese military officers on Tuesday for the massive hack of the credit rating giant Equifax that occurred in 2017. The 4 are alleged members of the People's Liberation Army's 54th Research Institute. Speaking at a press conference in Washington, U.S. Attorney General William Barr called the hack one of the largest data breaches in history. Barr said the hackers stole personal information and trade secrets, including data compilation and database designs. BBC reports that the hackers allegedly routed traffic through 32 servers in nearly 20 countries to conceal their location as they conducted the cyber attack, which occurred from May to June in 2017. The U.S. Department of Justice named 3 of the 4 suspects, but their whereabouts are unknown. The Washington Post quotes FBI Deputy Director David Bowditch as saying, "We can't take them into custody, try them in court of law, and lock them up. Not today, anyway." However, Bowditch says the FBI is not giving up. He adds, but one day these criminals will slip up, and when they do, we'll be there. In a detailed report by Reuters, hackers from China's Ministry of State Security were said to be breaking into 8 different computer service providers around the world. Citing sources familiar with the case, Reuters reports this was an attempt to steal commercial secrets from the service provider's clients. The report says the global hacking campaign is known as Cloud Hopper and is believed to have been going on for years. According to Reuters, Chinese hacking group APT-10 or Advanced Persistent Threat 10 carried out the attacks for the Chinese Ministry of State Security. They are said to have done this by sending out a phishing email to trick company employees into downloading malware or giving out their passwords. Once access to networks was acquired, hackers identified commercially sensitive data to encrypt and exfiltrate. The affected companies include Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, IBM, Fujitsu, Tata Consultancy Services, NTT Data, Dimensions Data, Computer Sciences Corporation, and DXC Technology. In a statement to Reuters, China denied the accusations and said, "The Chinese government has never in any form participated in or supported any person to carry out the theft of commercial secrets." Google has removed 6 apps from China from the company's Play Store following a BuzzFeed News investigation. Here's what you need to know. BuzzFeed reports that they found at least 6 Chinese apps committing ad fraud and abusing users' permissions on the Android-focused digital marketplace. These apps are part of the DU Group, which is a spin-off from Chinese giant Baidu. However, BuzzFeed reports that all the apps concealed their real identity and were collecting vast amounts of user data, then sending it back to China. Ad fraud researchers Checkpoint and Method Media Intelligence found that the apps used a code which allowed them to automatically click on ads without the user ever finding out. This is so that it would be able to generate more income. The apps were able to do this even when users didn't open them. The 6 apps are Selfie Camera, Total Cleaner, Smart Cooler, RAM Master, AIO Flashlight, and Omni Cleaners. Google has since pulled the popular Chinese apps and released a statement indicating that they would hire more people to evaluate apps in order to prevent bad faith developers from gaming our systems. However, Richard Kramer, a senior analyst with Arete Research, told BuzzFeed News, ad fraud is simply the norm in China, and Google should be doing far more to prevent it. They cannot claim ignorance of or deny the problem.
An investigative report by the New York Times, The Guardian, Motherboard, Süddeutsche Zeitung, and German public broadcaster NDR has uncovered a systematic program to harvest data from the phones of tourists entering Xinjiang. According to a report in The Guardian, tourists entering Xinjiang by land from Kyrgyzstan are forced to unlock their phones at border checkpoints and give their PIN codes to border officials. The phones are taken away by Chinese authorities to a separate room. iPhones are plugged into a reader that scans them, while Android phones have a spyware app called Feng Cai installed on them. The malware downloads emails, text messages, phone contacts, call logs, and scans the device for more than 73,000 different items, including images and videos related to Islamic terrorism or the Quran. A traveler told The Guardian he had been alerted by an international travel agent and by tourist information while in Kyrgyzstan that something would happen to his phone at the border. He said they expected a GPS tracker would be installed. He checked his phone after he got it back and found the malware. In most cases, the Android app is uninstalled by authorities before the phone is returned to the tourist. However, some tourists have still found the app installed on their phones. A new report has uncovered mass digital surveillance of Uyghurs, a Muslim minority ethnic group in China. A report by Volexity has found that hackers affiliated with the Chinese government are carrying out cyber attacks on Uyghurs by targeting the websites they visit. It identified at least 11 websites related to Uyghurs and East Turkestan that had been jeopardized and used for surveillance. According to Volexity, these websites are blocked in China and may be used to surveil the Uyghur diaspora outside of China. These websites contain malicious code that installs spyware on users' phones when they visit the sites. The hackers were also observed targeting personal Gmail accounts by tricking users into authorizing access, thereby gaining access to the user's emails. The report confirmed that the malware targeted Android users, but said that these same tactics could be used against Apple and Microsoft phone users. Citing sources familiar with the matter, TechCrunch reports that research by Google's Project Zero, which uncovered a hacking operation that targets iPhone users that visit certain websites, found that the operation was aimed at the Muslim Uyghurs and non-Uyghurs. Google did not name the websites or who the hackers targeted. A spokesperson from Google told TechCrunch they would not comment beyond Project Zero's published research. A source familiar with Google's research confirmed to CNN that some of the websites that Volexity found coincided with some of the websites that Project Zero found. This led some to question why Google would publish research against its competitor but fail to disclose the same about its Android devices. Project Zero leader Tim Willis denied all this on Twitter and said that Google had found the vulnerabilities in July, while Volexity had found vulnerabilities in Android devices later in the year. A joint report from the International Computer Science Institute and AppCensus, a company that examines how much data an app is collecting from a user, has found that 1,325 Android apps are able to gather location data and unique device identifiers, such as the IMEA of a device, even if users haven't given the apps permission to do so. Their findings were presented at the Federal Trade Commission's PrivacyCon at the end of last month. A total of 70 apps, including Shutterfly, a photo editing app, were found gathering geolocation data through images taken by users and sending the data to their own servers. The apps were able to bypass Android permissions and gather user data through Wi-Fi connection and by accessing the metadata stored in photos. 13 other Android apps, including Baidu's Hong Kong Disneyland Park app, were found looking through hidden files stored in the SD card folder. The apps were able to access data they didn't have permission for because it was stored in the files. Researchers added that 153 additional apps, including Samsung's health and browser apps, also have this ability. The report noted that 3 smart remote control apps were harvesting location data by connecting to a user's Wi-Fi network and by accessing the router's MAC address. Google told CNET it will be addressing these issues in its software update, Android Q. Sergey Egelman, research director of usable security and privacy at the Institute, said at the FTC conference that consumers have few tools they can use to control and make decisions about their privacy. If app developers can just circumvent the system, then asking consumers for permission is relatively meaningless, he said. The study looked at more than 88,000 Android apps from the Google Play Store. According to CNET, Egelman will be releasing details and a list of the 1,325 Android apps in August when he presents the study at the Usenix Security Conference.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.